Hey everyone and welcome back on the channel. My name is Alex. In today's video we have something different. It's a long form interview with one of New Balance's executives, Kevin Fitzpatrick. Kevin has been working in the running industry for more than 20 years and with New Balance specifically for quite a large chunk of that time. He's now the global VP for running. He knows a ton about the market. He knows a ton about New Balance, obviously. But in general, he's someone who you would want to interview, share thoughts, ideas with, and we were very lucky, thanks to New Balance and iRun, to interview Kevin in Chamonix during the Marathon du Mont Blanc. It was the first year that New Balance is sponsoring this event, and Kevin made the trip from Boston to Chamonix to spend some time there, and he also shared some of his time with us. Hopefully you will enjoy this interview, you will enjoy this format as well, and if you have any questions for Kevin, like I said at the end of the interview with Kevin, just ask them to him in the comments, and hopefully he will drop by and answer some of them. Enjoy the interview. Let's get started. We're very privileged today to be here with New Balance Global VP of Running and Outdoor, Kevin Fitzpatrick. Kevin is based out of Boston, but most importantly has been in the industry for more than 20 years, of which you spent 16 at New Balance, if I'm not mistaken. Kevin, thank you so much for being here with us today. Just for everyone to know, we'll also do some translations in French for the audience here, but if you're watching on YouTube, it's English only. And we're very privileged to have you, Kevin, today. Thank you so much. First of all, how are you? Because you ran this morning the 10K.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be here in Chamonix at the Marathon du Mont Blanc. Legs are a little bit stiff, a little bit warm out there this morning, but all in all, it was just a beautiful run, amazing experience, and we had a great time out there.
Is that part of the job description when you're a global VP of running and outdoor, to be doing these events, not just attending them, but also racing one of the races, part of Marathon du Mont Blanc?
Yeah, you won't find me out on many of them, but I grew up trail running. The outdoors is very near and dear to my heart, and so having the opportunity to come out here and run the 10K for Marathon du Mont Blanc has been a dream come true. But yeah, we need to make sure that we're always using the product so that we know ourselves how we can make it better. And our team we're made up of a bunch of former elite athletes all the way down to some folks that just recently took up running, and so it's a nice diverse team that really introduces a lot of diverse thought and ideas into the product creation process at New Balance.
Yeah, and this is the first year for New Balance to be the official sponsor of Marathon du Mont Blanc. Can you maybe summarize how that happened? For people following the industry, following trail running, it's been a very popular event over the past 20 years, even longer than that, since the 1980s. But New Balance has never been the sponsor of that event, and yet all of a sudden you're here. What changed and what made you do the move?
We, back in 2023, first of all, if you back up a little bit, we had spent the last 5 years getting really focused on road running and really making sure that we had long-term plans to be much more present in the community, be showing up at the major marathons and 5Ks and 10Ks around the world. And we purposely had to divest a little bit from the outdoor space. The outdoor space is very important to our heritage at New Balance. We started making trail shoes back in the 70s. So we've got a lot of really rich heritage, but as we started thinking about that next big phase of growth and running for New Balance, we knew the next natural extension was to start getting focused on trail. So back in 2023, we got a small team here in Chamonix, tossed a lot of ideas around the table. Immediately we knew that we needed to get an elite athlete team. And so that was our number one priority. And we knew that at some point we were going to entertain some meaningful partnerships and really start to build that community. I'd never expected it was going to happen as fast as it did. We sit here 2 years later, and here we are, partners with Marathon du Mont Blanc, which is just an absolute dream come true for so many of us at New Balance.
What's the hardest part when you're partnering with an event for the first time? Maybe what surprised you? I mean, you're obviously sponsoring other events on the road side, but then this one's the first time. What was maybe the hardest or the most difficult achievement to make it happen and to make it as impressive and comprehensive as you did?
I think just the timelines that we were working with, our EMEA team did an absolutely incredible job working with Fred over at Marathon du Mont Blanc, but we went from signing this partnership and agreeing to a partnership to having to execute the event in a matter of about 4 or 5 months. And so the work that they did very quickly was just nothing short of miraculous. When I look at Marathon du Mont Blanc and just, it's spread out across the entire valley. You're working with terrain that can be somewhat inaccessible. And so just the pure logistics that go into an event like this and being a partner present a lot of complexities that, a marathon doesn't present. And so overcoming some of those has been a little bit challenging, but again, we've got an amazing team that is just doing absolutely great work out there. Anytime we enter into a partnership, it's all about community and it's about a long-term partnership. And we truly believe at New Balance that we partner with people that we can do things together that neither of us can do alone. And Marathon du Mont Blanc is just such a great example of that. Their efforts around sustainability, their efforts around the community, their efforts around strengthening the Chamonix economy is all stuff that we truly believe in at New Balance. And so you're just going to see us build every year. We wanted to get in here in 2025, make sure we offer the runners an amazing experience and learn from it. And you're just going to see us build from there. And it's going to be really exciting over the next 5 years.
And if you had to maybe pick one learning already from the experience that you've had so far with this event, what would it be, and how could you improve it already with the learnings that you have now over the past few days you spent here in Chamonix?
I'll tell you, the first thing is I need to train more for the 10K. That second hill climb was brutal. But when it comes to the partnership, I think one of the biggest things that we've learned is just trying to figure out how we can make sure that where we're present within the valley, that we're just delivering the most impact possible. Right now we're pretty spread out. We've got a lot of different activations happening across town, and I think as we look at next year, just making sure that we're maybe a little bit more centralized, but also offering a really nice diverse range of activities for all to enjoy.
Maybe if we just take a step back and we look at road versus trail. Here Marathon du Mont Blanc is all about the trail side, but New Balance is also big on the road side, also on the track and field side of things. If people are watching for the first time, they see this video on YouTube and they don't know the difference between road and trail, maybe can you first explain it, but also what does it mean for a brand like New Balance to be present both on the road and trail side?
I believe really strongly that in order to be a global running brand, you have to be both credible and innovative, both in the road, on the road as well as on the trails. And so that's really important. When we look at footwear right now, I think a lot of people assume that you could just take a road shoe and put, a Vibram outsole on it with a little bit more aggressive tread, and it's a great trail shoe. And that is absolutely not the case. And we've been a little bit guilty of that in the past. I can tell you with our recommitment to trail running in the outdoors over the long term, we are really focusing, putting the athlete first, leveraging their insights to build world-class running solutions head to toe. You're going to start to see a lot more bespoke product coming from us. When I look at what we have coming for 26, we've got a couple of new models. I am incredibly excited for what we have coming for 2027, where you're going to see just a completely overhauled aesthetic from New Balance trail running. You're going to see our first very technical and performance-led apparel collection in many, many years. And then off it, making sure that we're also rounding that out with some accessories, hydration, socks, hats. We want to make sure that we're outfitting the trail runner head to toe and doing it in a really premium and end use way. So we're really excited for what the future holds.
And I'm actually curious because your title is Global VP of Running and Outdoor. Where does trail go into? Is it running or is it outdoor?
Yeah, we put it, I think it's kind of the bridge. Is the way we look at it. Is when I look at outdoor, is we're talking a little bit more about light hiking, some adventure type product. When I look at trail running, I kind of say it's the bridge from how we get from running to outdoor. And you're going to see us really be laser focused on trail running over the short term. But the hope is that we will get back into outdoor in a more significant manner once we've, planted our roots in the community. And we've really made sure that we're servicing trail running. We'll start thinking about the broader outdoors as well.
And you quickly mentioned products, which obviously is a huge part of what you're doing at New Balance. What makes a good trail running shoe in 2025? how would you describe the key elements to have a good trail running shoe and not just a road shoe on which you stick a Vibram outsole?
I believe that the biggest thing, first of all, is comfort, traction, and then support. So when we're looking at trail running, it starts with making sure that that outsole is going to give you the right grip on the right surfaces. That is a lot easier said than done. We've got amazing partnerships with Vibram. They've got some of the best technologies in the industry out there. And so it's always just trying to understand when we're looking at what we're trying to solve for, what technology gives us that best experience. We are looking at cushioning technology, and I think everybody's probably pretty well versed in the innovation that's happened in cushioning on the roads has just been nothing short of just the pace at which it's happening is crazy. And so we're trying to just understand, the body goes through a lot more of a beating on the trails, especially when you get to some of those technical trails, and what is the right cushioning, what is the right type of cushioning. In many cases, we're looking at dual densities and combining two of our premium technologies to offer a better experience, thinking about the uphill versus the downhill. And then the upper, I think, when we look at the over the top of the foot, trail shoes have typically been pretty heavy and very durable. And so we're really looking at how we can innovate over the top of the foot to make sure that we're offering that support and that durability and that debris-free construction, but really helping to lighten it up, making it a lot more breathable and a lot quicker drying. And so that's where we're putting a lot of our focus over the short term.
And that's a perfect segue. You just mentioned short term. Where do you see shoes being, long term in, say, 20 years from now? Because if you check the first posters of Marathon du Mont Blanc 20, 30 years ago, and if you look at the shoes that are on those posters, they look completely different. And it seems like innovation is not just linear, it's very almost exponential, at least at times. How do you see trail running shoes and the market in general when it comes to products in, say, 20 years from now? What will be a good trail running shoe in 20 years?
Yeah, what I'll tell you is if I had the answer, I think I could probably retire in Chamonix next year. But, it's really important to think about the past as we're trying to pave our way into the future. And if you look at New Balance, we had this MT100 that was an absolute cult following in trail running back in the early 2000s. Anton Kuprichka, it was his favorite shoe. There was a point in time where he started carving away things because it was becoming almost too much shoe for him at the time, and that led us to Minimus. Minimus was probably the most successful period we've ever had in trail running at New Balance. And I mention that because things are changing so drastically on the road. I don't believe that we've kept pace in trail running. There hasn't been any major innovation in trail running since the days of barefoot. And so we are really looking at how can we spend a lot more time with our sports scientists, our researchers, our athletes, and really understand how we can elevate that experience for all types of runners on the trails. So again, I wish I had the crystal ball and could tell you where things are going in 20 years. The only thing I know is certain is it's going to look very different than it does right now.
It's actually quite interesting because you're referring to Anton and him carving out pieces of a shoe to make it, lighter, more minimal, and working better for him. It seems like in road running, there's that trend coming back of removing, midsole stack, removing pieces to make shoes a bit easier, a bit more simplistic, a bit more connected to the runner at the end of the day. Do you think that's also a trend that will transpire to or trickle down to trail running? And will we see, the shoes like the MT100 back one day, at least with new technologies, with that same kind of idea?
I sure hope so. I think you nailed it. We're already starting to see the stack heights come down quite a bit on the road. And, we have, as we look at our trail running range, we're always trying to make sure that it's got a diverse enough range that we're offering all types of experiences. I can tell you I ran in the Hero V9 today, and on a 10K, it feels almost just like a little too much shoe. I'm really excited. We have a Rebel Trail coming out in spring of 2026, and that lowers the stack heights quite a bit, gives you just much better ground feel, a little bit more agility, a little bit more nimble on the trails. And so I do think we're going to start seeing things come lower. what's enabling that is all of this innovation in cushioning compounds. So we could still offer that amazing protection, that great cushioning, really good durability and grip, but do it in a much lower and lighter package. And that's what I'm most excited about. When we look at the MT100, that thing had such a cult following. I still have a few pairs in my closet, and my hope is that someday we can introduce that through modern technology.
And I think you teased the Rebel Trail. I'm not asking you more about that shoe. Let's keep some secrets. But you hear it here first on the channel in the podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening, by the way. But Kevin, we mentioned products. That's one piece of the puzzle. But then if the products are not used by amazing athletes to create great performances, they're not useless, but they're not serving 100% of their purpose. How did you manage to build a team on the trail running side that not only exists now, but also creates great performances like yesterday on the 90K here at Marathon du Mont Blanc, where Théo Détienne, the French runner, actually claimed the victory, and that's also a huge achievement. How did you do that in such a short period of time?
I give all the credit to our EMEA sports marketing team and marketing team. These are people that live and breathe the trail running space. And when we were in Chamonix in 2023, the big idea was we've got to start with credibility. And you don't get any more credibility than when you have elite athletes who are performing at an incredibly high level in your product. And so our partnership with Jean-Mi and Andrea, that was done, I believe, in 2024. And from there, we immediately hit the ground running, and we had athletes winning races all over the world. And the performances that they were mounting was absolutely incredible. To see what Théo did yesterday, and even Nico, was just absolutely incredible. And again, what's more special for us is that team has allowed us the ability to get into the heads of trail runners and understand how we could solve their needs better. And so the first thing that we did when Jean-Mi came on board was we held a camp in Italy where we spent a lot of time with the athletes, really understood what we can do better. We then followed that up with another camp in Chamonix this past spring. And I can tell you that those sessions, those camps are as valuable to us in product creation and innovation as they are for the athletes training and being able to compete at the highest of their ability.
And it's interesting because Theo is not just a great athlete, he's also a great personality for the trail running community. He's very inspiring for younger people. And I think at this time it's mostly in France, but it also goes beyond just that country, and in the trail running community in general, he's becoming really a kind of leader and very recognized and appreciated person. Do you sign off on the athlete recruitments? Are you the one saying yes or no when Jean-Mi and Andrea from the sports marketing team are presenting you options for the future? How does that happen?
Yeah, it's a very collaborative process. What I would say is we really trust Jean-Mi and Andrea. So they're making most of the calls. We work very closely to make sure that there's cultural fit with all of our athletes. And I think Théo is a really good example. I mean, what he does out there is absolutely incredible. But the type of person he is what we really value at the New Balance brand. We always talk about we're not endorsing athletes, we're not sponsoring athletes. We're truly in a partnership. And he is, the epitome of partnership. He represents our brand incredibly well. He's got an absolutely amazing personality. He's really captivating to the audiences. And so those are exactly the types of athletes that we're looking for. And he's incredibly young. I mean, he's at the start of his career, which is just wild to think about. And so, we, like, going back to your question, we absolutely are involved, but we have nothing but trust in Jean-Michel and Andrea, and we're always collaborating on who we're looking at, who's going to be next onto the team, but also trusting the process.
And at this stage, it feels like the team is very EU centered. Do you plan on having a replica of that team over in the US, or have some US athletes joining here the team in Europe and training with them? What's the plan here?
Yeah, I believe the long-term plan is we want this to be global. When you look at the success that we've had in road running and having athletes around the world that represent the brand, it is absolutely critical to your success to drive that credibility and authenticity. And so our hope is that we absolutely will have some American athletes, have some Japanese athletes. We're looking at all of our key markets around the world and making sure that they are represented over the long term.
And that's actually very interesting because you have amazing athletes on the roads and in track and fields. Femke Bol, Gabby Thomas, just to name a few. Do you think it's doable one day to also have that sort of team spirit as in trail running, but in track and field on the road? Because it feels like it's very special what you built in trail running. It's really a team living together, training together, doing these camps together. It's maybe a bit different on the in track and fields, in road running. Maybe why, first of all, and then can you transpose the model and make it a similar concept over in track and road?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and to be honest, I haven't put much thought to it. I will tell you that what we have going here with the athlete setup in trail running is just so incredibly special. You go up to the athlete chalets and you spend time with the athletes and you see how they're interacting. They have become an incredible family, and they're part of our family, which is even more special to us. You definitely don't get that with the road running athletes or the track and field athletes. There's a slightly different element, a lot of different coaches. They're spread throughout the world. I would say the closest thing we do have to it on the road running side is Team MB Boston, which is coached by Mark Coogan, and he's got an amazing group of athletes who have a very similar kind of setup where they all train out of our global headquarters at the new state-of-the-art indoor track in Boston. Some of them live together. They're in the office every day working together, and you get that just amazing kind of family vibe. So I'd say that's the closest it gets in road running. Getting to that in track and field, I don't necessarily see us being able to leverage that, but again, I bring it back. I mean, the trail running thing is just so special and unique, and I think that's what just makes the trail running community so incredible. It is all about family. It's about doing things together. It's about being in the outdoors together. We always say at New Balance that sport is best enjoyed with others, and nowhere is that more prevalent than in trail running.
It almost feels like trail running is a team sport, right? With all respect for the track and field athletes, there may be more individual personalities that shine on the global stage, and then here in trail running, it's really that family that you described. Do you think there's a chance that that sort of team spirit will also help athletes perform in races, where you can see, just like in cycling, teams working together for one leader, for one athlete, to help them win, and then the rest of the team will be kind of only lieutenants or helping the leader of a team? Is that something that has been already envisaged at New Balance or in general in trail running?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was really Jean-Michel and Andrea's kind of idea at the beginning, was by having these athletes living and training together, they're going to push each other to new limits. And we're already seeing the results of that. So I think that was very much part of the plan. Again, we're just getting started. I think we're going to see so much more of that.
Kevin, we discussed products, we discussed athletes. We're here in Chamonix, and there's more to the sport than just that. And you know it very well because of your career and your achievements as a global leader in running. Can you maybe share in a few words how you got to that position where today you're able to oversee products, athletes, events, and much more than that? What did it take to get here?
I'll tell you, it's I have been nothing but lucky. I worked in an outdoor shop for about 15 years growing up, so servicing trail runners, mountaineers, outfitting a lot of Everest expeditions. So the outdoors has always been near and dear to my heart. I did run, but not at a very elite level by any means growing up. And I always knew I wanted to get into sports for a career. I went to school for marketing. Where it really led me was into product management, which I honestly had no idea existed as a career, back when I was in my early 20s. And, I've been just very fortunate to be in the industry since I left university and be in a product career, which eventually just kind of grew and grew, took on more responsibility, took some marketing roles. But always in the performance side of things. So, I've worked on tennis, I've worked on training, I've worked the last decade and a half in running and outdoor. And it's just been an incredible career. I like to tell everybody every day is totally different at New Balance. One day, we've got an elite athlete that's in the office and we're working in the lab to best understand their insights and how we can better them. The next day, we've got a new campaign that's about to launch. We're looking at creative. The next day, we've got a new prototype that's just arrived. And we're looking at it for the first time. It feels like Christmas morning every day sometimes when you're in this industry. And I count my blessings every day that I've been able to make a career out of it.
And what will be your, let's say, top 3 pieces of advice for young people who are maybe watching this video? They're product nerds or they're athletes, but they're not necessarily, the next Theo Detienne. How can they, start working in this industry? And yeah, what will be your top pieces of advice for them?
I think the first is just be ambitious. It's a very competitive industry. A lot of people want to be in it, and it is a relatively small industry, but the people that are out there using the products, that understand the communities, that have the passion, is typically what we're looking for. So be ambitious, be passionate, get out there and enjoy, running and trail running, and that's gonna help you break in. Retail experience is so important, and I believe that I've been so successful in this career because I worked on a shop floor for 15 years. Understanding how to identify a consumer that has a problem or has a need that you need to solve, and then being able to do it is invaluable experience. And then the last thing I would just say is, don't be afraid to be different. I think this industry is experiencing a major evolution right now, where running itself is having a huge boom. We're seeing things evolve at a rapid pace. Trail running is starting to experience that. And we want really great diversity and diversity of thought. And so people that are willing to think differently, take some risk, and kind of disrupt the norm are always the most successful in our industry.
And I really like and appreciate your answer, and in general having that sort of angle into a more business angle, a more let's say behind the scenes angle to this show and to this podcast. Also because there's not much information available on the internet about how to grow in this industry, and it's very much focused on products, on what people can see and can discover for themselves, but not necessarily what's happening behind the scenes. So I really enjoy your take on this. If we just dive a bit deeper into this topic, you have large teams reporting to you, and you work with many different people, many different jobs. If you were to start a team from scratch or a brand from scratch, who would be your, let's say, first 3 recruitments? What are the most important roles and positions in a running company that you really rely on a day-to-day basis?
I thought you were going to ask me for specific people, and I was like, that can get me into a lot of trouble. I think the first thing is innovation. It all starts with innovation, and innovation does not happen when you don't know how to take risk, when you're afraid to fail. And so the number one thing I would do is look at people that know how to fail. And you can fail successfully, and we've seen that many times at New Balance. But just taking risks, being willing to disrupt the norm is so incredibly important. So that would be absolutely number one. I also think strategic planning is something that's probably underestimated in our industry. I think oftentimes we've got a lot of kind of gearheads and technical people that we're just always looking at the next shoe and what do we need to improve, and really thinking about the long term and what are you really trying to achieve and what is it going to take to do that. And so having a really good long-term strategic thinker is absolutely critically important, and that's why you're seeing I think so much growth in our running category right now. Is about 2 years ago we built a new long-term plan, and sticking to that plan has shown incredible benefits for us. And then the last is just, again, goes back to the creative side, is you need somebody that can tell the stories. We talk so much about community. Community is at the center of everything we do at New Balance. And somebody that knows how to be present in the community, share these stories with the community, engage with the community, that is so critical. And we would be nowhere as a brand where we are today without our efforts in the community, whether that's in Boston, in Chamonix, or around the world.
The first one was innovation. You mentioned successful failures. What would be one that you experienced yourself at New Balance or life in general?
Yeah, I've had probably too many, but I would say I'm trying to think here. Going back, gosh, I guess it was like 3 or 4 years ago, we did a running campaign that was a little bit provocative, a little bit disruptive. It was at a time where we really weren't showing up in the category the way we needed to. And, there was definitely a lot of risk involved in it. Team created it. I was all on board. And it definitely didn't hit the way we had hoped it hit. But it did get people talking about New Balance and looking at New Balance. And I think we all learned a lot from that is credibility and authenticity matters so much. And so when you want to be provocative, make sure that you're still thinking about that credibility and authenticity and being true to the consumer and true to who they are in that community. So it was a good learning experience, and everybody has forgotten about it at this point. So we're fortunate to move beyond it.
So that's a successful failure. You referred to the growth of the running category at New Balance. And in general, I mean, the industry is very fortunate now to be experiencing very strong, tremendous growth. Is that sustainable? And if yes, what will make it sustainable mid-long term?
Yeah, I absolutely do think it is sustainable. And, a big part of it is controlling your growth, making sure that we're very fortunate at New Balance. We're a privately held company. And so, of course, we're always looking at growing, but we're looking at responsible growth. And I think that's critically important. We've got an absolutely amazing team behind us. We've invested in sports research. We've invested in innovation capabilities. We've invested in community and marketing. And so we've got as strong of a team right now at New Balance as we've ever had. And so I am absolutely confident that that growth is going to continue, and it's going to continue at a very responsible pace.
And Kevin, first of all, thank you so much for all the answers. I think that also very transparent approach is much appreciated, and I'm sure the audience will also like it. How many times have you been in Chamonix now?
It's only been 2 times so far, but I can tell you there's a lot more on the horizon.
And out of the 2 times you have, just to wrap up this video, do you have a recommendation for people who might visit Chamonix this year, next year? Do you have a favorite coffee shop or favorite restaurant that you would like to highlight here in Chamonix?
Oh man!
Although you're very fortunate to have chefs in the athlete chalet, so that's maybe.
We're taking pretty good care of here. There's so many great places around here. I don't remember the names of many of them. There's a juice bar down on the corner of the main kind of thoroughfare down there that is absolutely incredible. And all of the coffee shops are just incredible around here. So you can't go wrong in Chamonix. I would encourage anyone that's thinking about coming to visit to get out to Chamonix. You're going to love it. You're going to have an amazing experience, and there's no better views anywhere in the world.
And maybe just to finish, you mentioned that there's many more trips to Chamonix in the horizon. Does that mean you're involved with this race specifically and trail running here in Europe for long term? And if we can ask, how long do you see New Balance being here in Chamonix?
Yeah, my hope is that we're here for a very long time. We're going to have the athletes are still living and training here in Chamonix, so we're going to be spending a lot more time with them at camps out here. Obviously, our partnership with Marathon du Mont Blanc lasts for at least the next few years, but my hope is this is the start of something very long term. And there's no better partner than the OG event here in Chamonix, Marathon du Mont Blanc, and I truly believe there's a lot we can do together that neither of us could do alone with this event, and that's really what we're focused on, and really delivering that amazing experience for the runner.
Kevin, thank you so much for your time. Thank you to everyone here watching, listening. If you have questions for Kevin, you can probably ask them down in the comment section. I guess Kevin will might at least come and answer a few of them, or in a future episode we might have the answers. Thank you so much, and enjoy Chamonix.
Thanks for having me.